Okay, so this is what the first part of this system looks like assembled. We'll go in closer for some more discussion. You can see down below here, I set this on these two plastic sawhorses. If you order these in, you can get things like this for about 20 bucks a pair, and that's a real simple, straightforward way of setting up a system like this. Also, setting it up on sawhorses is better ergonomically, because the growing tubes will be pretty much at waist height for maintenance. I found it necessary to apply a little bit of sandpaper to the edges on the pipe, and even then these caps were still fairly tight, which is probably a good idea. And then you see I go along here. You can see how each one of these is now attached with an 18-inch zip tie on both ends. Now, one problem I came into when I put this together was that I had previously drilled holes for these elbows here, and I actually had them a little bit too close to the side, and they are interfering with the thickness of the pipe. So I was able to pop them to the side and get them through there, but it may be necessary to drill some holes that are, further in from the edge in order to get these to fit correctly. But it's not a complete loss in this case, because I can just rotate the existing hole up to the top and then drill the new holes as needed down along the edge. So now it's basically ready to go outside, and I am busy clearing space for that purpose. So here's the hydroponic system set up in the alleyway between the two houses. This is kind of nice because you see here we've got really good reflected light off of this house next door to us. Okay, now because this thing is sloped, I had to use some chunks of 2x4 basically to raise it. And also when I put the level on it, I saw that this right side was a little bit lower, or this inside part was a little bit lower. Put a couple of hobby sticks in there to level it up. And on the back, I also had to put some little boards in there to support it. The bricks down below had been used in a previous project, and I started out thinking that I would use those to support the lower side, but it's too much distance. It's only about 4 inches or so that this slopes. Also, something else I did here is I originally had these holes 9 inches apart, and I have very tiny plants right now. So I cut another set of holes, which means that this 5-foot long thing will accommodate 39 plants. So that's going to be an increase in capacity, and we'll see what happens in terms of having to move plants around to make room. Now down in here you can see where I had this elbow put in here. I put the hole in roughly the 7 o'clock position, and the idea here is that by turning this to some degree or another, I can control the level inside the tube. Now, in terms of running this back into a reservoir, I'm probably going to have to use another set of elbows in here, but that's not very expensive. So the next phase is going to be putting some 2-inch net cups in each end and putting water in there to see how level it is and what level I need at this point in time to just touch the bottom of the net cups. The other thing too is that if some of the plants start to get big, I've got these trays out here that are farther apart, and I can move some plants into there, and I'll probably end up with more plants on the outside. Also here on these sawhorses you have this shelf here, which is just a few inches above those concrete blocks. So I'm also thinking that because of the amount of reflected light in here, I could probably put a couple more grow tubes in here, just manually operated, and then increase my capacity even more in this small space.